Mr. Roman, are you aware that we are sending $40 million a week to the Taliban?
Yes, sir.
Can you name other instances of foreign aid going to terrorist organizations?
We have assisted al-Shabaab in Somalia. There's been instances of the Khamsi network in Sudan, Hamas, Islamic Jihad, Hezbollah, Taliban, Hezbollah, Hayat Tahrir al-Shams in Syria. Dozens of terror organizations have received indirect assistance from U.S. foreign aid.
We've got a major problem here. And by problem, I mean an effing disaster. Right now, as I sit here talking to you, the U.S. government is sending $40 million a week, not to American schools, not to veterans, not to law enforcement, but to the Taliban. And it doesn't stop there. That same money is making its way to Hamas, Hezbollah, and Islamic Jihad, and al-Shabaab. Name a terrorist group. Odds are they're getting a cut. And you want to know what's even worse? You're paying for it. Think about that. The people responsible for 20 years of bloodshed, the same group that harbored bin Laden before 9/11, the same group that executes women in soccer stadiums, bans music, and forces little girls into marriages with their fighters, are getting weekly checks from the United States. I want to tell you about a bombing. August 26, 2021, U.S. forces were evacuating Afghanistan. Crowds of desperate civilians swarmed the airport. And then, boom, a suicide bomber from ISIS-K detonates a vest, killing 13 U.S. service members and over 170 civilians. Now, here's what they don't want you to know. The attack was made possible by U.S. taxpayer dollars. Not directly, but here's how it works. The Taliban took control of Afghanistan. We started sending them money under the excuse of humanitarian aid, and they started paying off ISIS-K to keep them in check. The same terrorist group we supposedly went there to destroy. Guess what? We funded them. The money never stopped flowing. This is why we need to shut it down completely. So here's how it works. They don't give the money directly to the terrorists. Instead, they send it through a web of humanitarian organizations, NGOs, that are supposed to be helping civilians. Problem with terrorists, they're all mixed into that civilian population, from fighting to how they run their government. You'll never figure out the difference. So let me walk you through it. Step one, the U.S. government doesn't send money directly to the terrorists. That would be too obvious. Instead, they funnel it through humanitarian organizations or NGOs that are supposed to be helping civilians. The next step is that NGO, let's say the Red Crescent, gets into a conflict zone and starts handing out aid. But guess who controls these regions? Those terror groups. So they either steal the supplies, tax the shipments, or force the NGOs to partner with so-called charities. So when you hear humanitarian aid, what they're really saying is terrorist toll payments. The Aaron Cohen Show is sponsored by the Cherries Deep Concealment holster. This is the same holster I trained Keanu on for the John Wick franchise. This thing runs BWB, or below the waistband, means there is zero digging into your gut, and this holster will never fall off you because it runs below the waistband. Also, lightning fast draw with just a little bit of training. Hit the link down in the description to order one of these bad boys. They ship next day. Zero lead time with these things now. They ship next day. Lightning fast draw. Fits all double stacked 9 and 40 Glocks. Fully adjustable clip and ambidextrous lefties, you're covered. Hit the link down in the description. Grab one of these bad boys and finally carry with comfort and total concealment. Case in point, Hamas stole entire aid shipments meant for civilians in Gaza. They didn't even try to hide it. And in Lebanon, Hezbollah got caught with USAID branded supplies inside their bunkers. And yet the White House still has the balls to say there's no evidence of aid going to terrorists. The lying to your face by the left was through the roof, and they think you're too stupid not to notice. But not Cohen's commandos. So here's where I'm at with all this. There's no more funding the enemy. There's no more handing over your hard-earned money to people who want you dead. No more USAID supplies accidentally winding up in terrorist strongholds. All of this must stop immediately. And if I was up there handling counterterrorist operations for the White House, this is what I would do. I would cut every single dollar of USAID that could end up in terrorist hands. Zero exceptions. Shut down USAID and overhaul foreign aid completely, because this oversight excuse is nonsense. And then I would hold actual people accountable. The officials pushing these radical policies need to be in front of hearings. Better yet, they need to be fired. Every single one of them. So let me close it out with this. On October 7th, Hamas invaded Israel, massacred 1,200 people. Women, kids, families. And when Israel hit back, the Biden administration pushed for humanitarian aid to Gaza. Let that sink in. And you know what happened next? Hamas seized trucks, took supplies, and then they launched more rockets. That's the scam. And it's happening every single day with every terror organization throughout the Middle East. Hamas is just the tip of the iceberg. So we're not just funding our enemies, we're actually making sure they win. And unless this stops immediately, I'm telling you the next 9/11 won't just be some terror attack. It'll be a U.S. government-funded operation. Do me a favor, share this episode, because the next time a U.S. soldier, an Israeli family, or some innocent American civilian gets blown to smithereens, I want everybody to remember who paid for it. Share, like, and subscribe. Get the word out here. I want to thank you guys for watching this one. Going to keep an eye on it as more of these hearings continue to unravel all this terror financing that's been going on for the last 20 years. I want to thank you guys for watching. Do me a favor. If you're a fan of the show, grab yourself a 3-pack order of Merkava coffee. It's the official coffee of the Aaron Cohen Show. Helps keep the lights on in the studio. We're completely independently produced. Every bag purchase helps support the show and allows me to continue to combat that garbage anti-Israel and anti-Trump misinformation that's floating around out there. All that nonsense propaganda. Hit the link down in the description. Grab yourself a 3-pack. Appreciate you guys. I'm going to come back to this one as more of this story continues to unravel. I want to thank you guys for watching this one. I'm Aaron Cohen. You're watching the Aaron Cohen Show, and I will see you guys on the next one.